I am exhausted. Let me just raise the volume up a little. Oh my God. Annie had an excellent show with Stephen Bassett. And then I jumped on and I just couldn't jump off. I was so into it. And we went overtime, which is okay. It ended up being an hour and 44-minute show when it was only supposed to be an hour. But hey, it was a lot of interesting information. So I want to thank Andrea Perrin for allowing me to participate in the show tonight with her. It was not planned. It was a lot of interest. I just got into it because I really wanted to, it all started, I really wanted to hear his opinion about the Atomic Energy Act, and he knew exactly what I was talking about, but he made some really excellent points in regards to going even deeper than that. And we made points toward the end of the show. Just imagine this. Just imagine. If President Trump, when he takes office and decides, because he's already brought it up, he brought it on Rogan, if he wants to look into releasing documents regarding JFK and UAP, can you imagine Donald Trump going down in history? I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is all hypothetical. But could you imagine he is going down in the history books as being the disclosure president? Wouldn't that be something? Oh my gosh. Think about that. Donald Trump, he would be remembered throughout all time. Humankind as being the disclosure president. Just think about the impact of something like that. If he wants to be remembered in a legacy moment, there's none bigger than that. I don't think. To be honest. I don't know what anybody else thinks about it, but wouldn't that be just unbelievable? And he's brought it up already in more serious tone. And he has executive power to do it. I mean, think about it. I mean, people may like it or not, but it could be fact. And what's up, Candace? And what's up, Nacho? Did you notice that I asked Steve the toughy questions? Like, I want to know about this. I want to know about that. I know, because when I watched the hearing, I wasn't lying. I made 8 pages of notes. 8 pages. And he knew what I was talking about. He knew. He knows. Because he knows what it's about with those unacknowledged UAPs. But he brought up the interesting point. Because let me tell you, that bill will never see day of light. Night of day, whatever. I'm so tired. I'm exhausted from mentally thinking from that show just now. I was zoned in. I tried to get in there, but Steve, you got to let Steve go. You got to let him go. But I was like sitting at the edge of my seat, ready to jump in, because I had so many questions. But the whole thing about, yes, you're right about this, the Atomic Energy Act and the provisions in it and all that. He knew exactly. He knew I hit it. Because that's the one I said in the chat. I've got to ask him this important question, because it all gets down to those SAP programs. But, you have some high-ranking officials, but it ain't going to it's not going anywhere, because the other high-ranking officials are going to kill it before it gets anywhere. And anything that gets put out there is gutted. There's no meat and potatoes to it. They gut it every time. So it's like, I said this a year ago. It's going around and it goes nowhere. And the whistleblower protection. And look what he said at the end when I mentioned that. Oh, Bill, 3 days ago, Tim Burchett put something in to protect whistleblowers. So I do my homework. I know what's going on. I know what's going on because I talk to a lot of people. So it's like, that's the thing. But remember, anything that goes through the Senate still has to get passed in the House. Now, they're going to control all the party. The majority is going to be Republican all the way around. Maybe this could do it. I don't know. The House is still Republican. That's what I heard. The House, now the Senate, and of course, President Trump in the executive. That's my understanding. It's complete control. So maybe this could be it. I don't know. The Senate flipped. So who knows? Maybe. I mean, I don't see it as 30% like Steve does, that we're going to see something before the next administration takes over and the new House and Senate. I don't see anything happening before that. I don't see 18 whistleblowers coming forward in the next month and a half, 2 months. I don't see that. Because this is a very drip process. I don't see that. I'm not as optimistic as he is. There's no way. But that's not to say that there could be a more expanded, serious hearing in February or March. Something that, has more significance to it. I could see that. It depends how serious they take this. I mean, who knows? Exactly. I don't see Biden doing it. Hell no. I see Trump doing it. For sure. I that's just my opinion. Listen, you want to get into a real swampy area? Just go look at the budget and no oversight. Let Elon, because that's what Elon's going to do, let Elon look into what's going on and grant him that classification, because Trump can do it, to get access. Could you imagine? Oh, my God. Into these aerospace companies. Now, I don't know if they would try to bring up a conflict of interest of him doing something like that because of SpaceX. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But wouldn't that be interesting to see where the money is? Because it's all about saving money. Well, the biggest place to check is these special access programs where nobody has any oversight. So where's the money? Where's the money coming from? And May said it, and I wanted to jump on that because she said it. The taxpayers have a right to know where their money is going. If there's nothing to see here, then there shouldn't be no issue about seeing where the money is, right? That's what she said. So, you know what I mean? Give me a break. So let's see. Let's see what kind of money they're dealing with, where they're getting the money from, where they're taking it from. Where is it coming from? The Department of Energy budget? Or is it bleeding off of other budgets? I mean, where is the money coming from? And where is it going? And you see, what Stephen Bassett brought up is what I've mentioned in the past. He said about the domain issue with aerospace companies, contractors. That was the whole holdup. And I agree that the government cannot walk into a private company, corporation, whatever, and say, okay, we have eminent domain over this, so that means we can take this from you. What? No, you can't. That's overreach. You just can't walk in and think that you own this shit. No. And that's why it was fought in by Republicans in the House, and I agree with that because you cannot give the government that much power. They can if you open up that window, that means they can do it with anybody else. Okay, we want to come in and they do enough patent stealing. I mean, they take everything and they take people's research and say, oh, no more yours, it's ours, it's going under our control. So, and of course, it's always going to be about the money. Always. So there's a lot there. So, like anything else, I agree to disagree, but I agree with what he had, a lot of what he had to say. But he's overly optimistic. I get it. I'm not that optimistic. I'm more pessimistic about the whole thing. And he knows a lot of people. He knows what's going on too. And I talk to a lot of people too. I know a lot of people. So we're close. We're close on where we think and what might happen and what could happen. But it is definitely deep state. The real deep state. This isn't like some conspiracy used phrase, deep state. The deep state is what goes on that not even Congress has oversight on it. There is that stuff that's going on, and it's so deep that they can't even access it. That's true. That's a fact. That's not bullshit. They don't have the clearance because they've classified stuff where they know they can't touch it because they don't have the classification to look at it in a SCIF. Now, there are members that can, but some of them are like, we need to look into this more. And the others, and if it's not majority, it's dead. So, yeah, you could have 1, 2, 3, but if it's not a majority of interest to really look into this, it ain't going anywhere. Period. It's not going to get through the House, and it's not going to get through the Senate. But maybe with a completely Republican-controlled House, Senate, and President situation, let's see. The pieces are there. Now let's see if they do it. If any time is the time, it would be in 2025. Because everything is there. Everything is positioned. Yeah, and the judicial, forget about the judicial. They're conservative, 6-3. They're going to go along with everything. I think. The judicial, it's a conservative Supreme Court, 6-3. So I don't see a problem with the Supreme Court either. So, like I said, the pieces are all on the board right now. And it can be played. And like I said, and that's why I brought it up during the show, Trump can be the disclosure president. Imagine that. In many ways, JFK, who knows? But can you imagine if he did that? He holds a press conference and puts documents. Okay, these are the documents that I declassified because he has the power. To be transparent with the American people and the world about this. The existence of non-human intelligence, however you want to label it. I don't know if they want to call it, if he's going to say extraterrestrials, whatever phrasing. Biologicals, not from here. However they're going to, non-terrestrial beings, interdimensionals, however they put it. But boy, oh boy, would that be something. Wouldn't that be something? And he would go down for the rest of time in every book, everything, as being the disclosure president, the one that changed the world globally forever. If you want a legacy, boy, oh boy, is that one to have. you changed everything moving forward. You changed everything that anyone has ever. It changed humanity forever. Think about that, the implications. And it's undeniable. Trump would go down as one of the most important presidents or individuals of all time in human history. Arguably. Because it changes everything what we perceive. The existence of intelligent life. This is not microbial life found on Mars or Europa or some simple life form. No, we're talking about this has been going on probably for eons, thousands of years. Forget about decades. How much do we know? What does the Vatican know? And what does the Vatican have in those vaults they hide from humanity? Do they know that this has been going on? I mean, this opens up so much. It changes everything. So I'm just saying, philosophically, hypothetically, I'm making assumptions here. But what if? It's the what if. What if Trump decides sometime in 2025 to say, okay, but the safe bet is to do it the way Bassett said, have hearings with a bunch of whistleblowers, over a dozen. And believe me, there are people out there, like he said, in the late 60s when they had that incident where they shut down nuclear weapons, actually shut them down. Those people, Salas, there's still people that are involved. I don't know how Hastings is doing. Last time I talked to him, he wasn't well. There's still people that are relevant and are alive. Get them up there. They were on the base. Get them in there. What do you say then, Pentagon, DOD? What do you say? You calling them liars? Did they not make a report? Do you not have that report to show us? It's classified. So is what this man is saying, is it true or not? Did this happen? You don't have to show us the document. Is what this man is testifying right now, what he's saying is true? Yes or no? Simple answer. You don't have to go into details. Yes or no? Did that happen? It's a starting point. And my gosh. And I wrote to Trump 4 times. And I've said this. I had an interesting response coming back from the White House correspondence. Especially the last letter was personal. I am definitely going to write. I'm going to wait till February. Give, time for the late February. Give time for the administration to settle in. But I am jumping on it. I am jumping on this. Shit, I'll even invite him to do a show with Commander Cobra and a few others on KGRA to talk about foreign policy, immigration, all that. But I definitely want them to throw at some point the UAP question and the JFK question and other stuff. There's one case that drives me insane, and who was it? What's the one that when they had the plane crashes, they go in? CSB? What is it? I can't remember the acronym. But anyway, there's one case that bothers me so bad. And no, it's not 9/11. It's not the ones you would think. Because this one is not a conspiracy. This one is tangible witness, over 100 witnesses, TWA Flight 800 off of Long Island that they say was a faulty fuel line or something and it exploded. Over 100 people seen a projectile going up toward that plane. Do you know that not one of them any of their testimony was admitted in court? They had 2 hearings. Not once nobody was heard of the witnesses. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. Why didn't you allow the witnesses to testify? that they seen a projectile heading toward the plane. I'm not saying it's a UFO. I'm not saying, all I'm saying is it's a projectile. Was it a missile? I don't know, but over 100 people witnessing something going up toward that plane before it exploded. Not one of those testimonies were admitted in court. That is bullshit. They totally threw it out. And those families have the right to know the answer, the real answer. I'm sorry. I mean, come on. So if there's one case that actually has many witnesses still alive today, it's not a true court hearing. It was for show, just to close it. And look it up. You think I'm saying, just look it up. Look up Flight TWA 800 and look into the hearings that they held and did not allow witness testimony. And there was over 100. But they didn't allow them. And there was 2 hearings. There was another one in the early 2000s. Not once. Now, what about that? No, I'm not watching the Tyson fight. Somebody might just message me. Let me just tell them. No, I'm ranting on a stream. That's my friend Mike. I didn't even do that right. Spell it right. I just rushed it. Hey, you can see the people on that screen. Steve Bassett, Don Ecker, some of the people that I know in contact with. That I have a direct communication with a lot of people. Yeah, I know Tyson's on Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix. I mean, oh God, that's entertainment purely. I'm sure a lot of people are watching it, but I mean, it'll be there later on when I go to bed. It'll be on Netflix forever now. And yes, greed is another thing, but it's also greed is power. It's all about the money. It always is. It's always about the money. It's always about the money. Like, there was an article I read, I think today, well, yesterday now, how they would never share the reverse engineering on retrieved craft because they're using it for superiority for the military industrial complex. And it's not just us. There's other countries that may be in possession of this, and they're doing the same thing. And they want to use that technology to further advance the futuristic advancements of military weaponization. They're not going to just give that away. And guess who's making the money? Remember, sadly, war is money. Just who's making the money? These companies and industries that make these weapons and sell them to countries, planes, rockets, whatever it is. It's a money machine. And the more shiny toys you put out, more people want to buy. And obviously, we're not giving them the latest of our stuff. And then they reverse engineer our stuff and make it better. So it's like, how much ahead of the curve do you want to stay when you do things like that? Because obviously they'll break it down and figure out how the damn thing works. You think Iran just all of a sudden sophisticated development? They took some of our drones. Remember the one they showcased on display? One of our sophisticated drones, and they had it on display in Iran? They reverse engineered the damn thing. And then they get help from North Korea, China, Russia. You know. So it's all a money machine. And they're not going to reveal that. They'd be idiots if they revealed that. I mean, come on. It's all about the money. They're not going to give that up. That's what keeps them going, despite being sued like Boeing. Boeing survived, right? They're in the aerospace industry. They've got contracts, multiple contracts, big money, government contracts. You think that's going to hurt them or make them go bankrupt? Are you nuts? Like, I couldn't believe when people were making a big deal like, Boeing's going to, like, yeah, they changed their head. I mean, did people actually think Boeing was going to go underwater with everything else that they do? Are you nuts? I was almost laughing like, come on, people. Are you serious? Are you that naive and gullible to think that it's going to destroy Boeing? And that's the thing. Candace says, maybe we cut the DOD funds. Remember, even he brought it up about the criminality involved. And believe me, that word goes around a lot. If you watch the hearing, at the end, I forgot, Ogle was the last one that spoke. And he says, this could be criminal in nature. The public that has the right to know, the taxpayers have a right to know where this money is going. I've been saying this for over a year when I discovered this whole Department of Energy 1954, SAP unacknowledged, the money trail. And I've been on this for quite some time. And I've been talking to other big time people in the field. It's this. That's why I said I've got to ask Stephen first this question. I want to know what he thinks about all this. And he knows I was right. He knows I was right. Because they don't want, and you saw how I got it, Candace, you saw how I got passionate about it. They don't want to know where the money came from, where it's going, who's getting it, audits, what contract is involved. And I told them on the air, there are people that are retired from the military, the alphabet agencies. Who knows who's involved in this shit and how much money's involved? We don't know if a Bezos, I'm hypothetically saying this, we don't even know if there's private billionaires investing in this because they have a stake in it. We don't know nothing because there's no oversight. So where's the money coming from? The Department of Energy budget is going to the SAP programs? Are you kidding me? You think all those, that costs crazy money. It's not the DOE budget. They gotta be getting the money from somewhere else too. They're bleeding it out of something else. So right there, that's a problem. That's a problem. Where are they getting all the money for this? To do all these SAP programs that they're working on? Who knows how many there are? Who knows how many aerospace companies are involved? All of them? Who knows if there's other third-party contracting companies that we're not even aware of? What's up, 91? So this is the ultimate rabbit hole. I'm telling you, this is the ultimate rabbit hole. And exactly, it could be other countries. But wouldn't that be remarkable, historic, if Trump is the disclosure president? He would have the most impact that humanity has encountered for thousands of years. He could be the sole individual that could be known as the disclosure president. Think about that. Think about, I can't even tell you, I don't even know if people can honestly comprehend how significant that is for humanity, period. And exposing the cover-up for decades. You want to talk about deep state and lies? And on top of that, throw in JFK and anything else? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So, do you know what I mean? The fight sucks. And I'm just laying it out there in practical means. I mean, look, like I said, there is bipartisan agreement on the UAP issue for transparency. So you're going to have both parties that want this because they're both pissed over this. They are. I've known this for about 3 years from a private phone call that I was sworn to secrecy, and I knew it, what was going on when I had to deal with the Whistleblower Protection Act and how Democrats and Republicans were working together in a bipartisan way to protect them because they were both frustrated not getting access to information because I'll just keep it at that. And it happened in a phone call, and believe it or not, Tom Reed was here with me when we were speaking with someone at a very high level. And we were sworn to secrecy. And it ended up being true. So, just like I said, it wouldn't just affect what happens here in the United States. It affects everyone, every person, every living being on the planet. You come out with disclosure. Because now, will other governments follow, like Stephen Bassett said, which I agree, yes, they would. It's like the first domino drops and they all start dropping. Could you imagine? I mean, maybe I'm really dreaming right now, but like I said, all the pieces are in place. President Trump, a conservative Supreme Court, the House, the Senate. This could be the time. Not saying it's going to happen, but this could be the time. Because you control all branches pretty much. All the important ones. And he's already said it on Rogan. He opened that doorway and he was serious. I'm just saying, let's see what happens. So this could get very, very interesting. And like I said, if he really, really wanted to go down on some type of legacy and be remembered throughout time, in every history book, in every corner of the globe, everywhere, this would be that way to do it. There's no arguing that. It would affect every person on this planet. Whether they accept it or not, that's another story. But for a president of a powerful country to come forward and say, yes, they do exist. Disclosure is real. Here's the documents. Here's the proof. Bang. Oh my God. Wouldn't that be unbelievable? That everything stops. Forget about the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still. It is for real. Everything stops dead. Everything. It's like, what? Could you imagine how it affects? I could see it being shown all over the world. This press conference. It would be like something out of a sci-fi movie. But for real. Oh my gosh. And yes, you're going to have people everybody's going to go nuts. Not everybody. A lot of people, I think, will be like, wow, they've been hinting at this for many years. And now we find out it's really true. Because the drip drip is there for a reason. It's almost like to prepare the masses for it. I don't know about the world, but it seems like they've been preparing the United States public hints of stuff like this, building it up in preparation. But you know how this is going to affect the religious folks right off the bat. You got to prepare for that. And Stephen Bester is right. You have to prepare for disclosure. You have to make sure that you're prepared for disclosure and all the ramifications right after that, because it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. Yeah, you never know what else it includes. Bigfoot, Nessie, who knows? Who the heck knows? But once you open up that Pandora's box, game on. Because then everybody's going to have questions about everything else too. The big question is, if you lied about that to us for all these decades, what else have you lied to us about? I think that's going to run through a lot of people's minds. It's not just going to be addressing the one. People are going to be like, okay, so then were you lying about this and that and this and this and that and that? It's that you have to be ready for that. Because it's coming. You lied for us for over 70 years, going back to World War II. You could even take it beyond that. But let's just say World War II. You've lied to us since World War II about this. You concealed it from the public. You knew all along. But see, what Bassett said was true. A lot of those people that were involved back then that started this whole cover-up are gone. They're not alive anymore. So you can only answer for what you're doing now. Do you know what I mean? In more recent times. What they did then, they're gone. They're long gone. So, and it does go back to Roswell. It goes back to Germany. It goes back to a lot of things. Was the Battle of LA a real incident? I mean, I could ask a billion questions. Were the Foo Fighters really UFOs? Were the Germans experimenting on building the Vril craft? Was that true? Did they recover a crashed retrieval and try to reverse engineer it to make one of their own? I mean, why were they so interested in Die Gluck, or the bell, the Nazi bell? What was that about? Did that have any connection? I mean, so many questions are going to come just in that area alone. But again, it opens up a can of worms on every other conspiracy that's out there. We thought it was a conspiracy, but was it true? So, I'm telling you, this could be, I don't know. I don't know if society in general is ready for it. I think a lot of us are. But I know there's a lot of people out there that won't be. You got to think of it this way. There are countries that their whole control and manipulation is based on their religious beliefs. So how do you fit in that equation? Can they both exist? Can God exist along with the existence of these beings from wherever they're from? Like, can they accept that? Or will they just say they're demons? We're dealing with evil beings that they came up with, and they're exposing it now. That the existence of these evil demonic entities, and they're trying to take us over by manipulating us to say that they're... You can only imagine what the narrative could be. But you got to remember that the theocracies that are religious based, their government are controlled by, we know who they are. And they're extreme. They're not moderate. Some are moderate, but a lot of them aren't. Are they ready to accept it? I don't think so. What could that do to their stabilization of their governments? It can undermine it. So this is a complicated issue. Again, we might look at it differently than other countries would. What do you think the Iranians would think? The people might look at it differently, but just think of that. Just think of it that way. You think? I don't know. I know the Vatican has been open to the idea of the existence of extraterrestrials. They've said it in the past, especially with Francis. But I don't know about the other religions. I don't know. You would have to ask somebody that sits in a high position in that religion and ask them straight up, what do you think about the possibility of the existence of extraterrestrials, and if it ever came to fruition that there was absolute proof that they exist? I would like to ask that question and see what they say. How would they respond? I don't know. We'd have to ask them. Simple. The guy in Israel, but they tried to diminish that. Even in Israel, they tried to squash that a little bit when he said all that a couple of years ago, a few years ago. I remember when that happened. Now, I spoke to a Canadian PM. Shit, what was his name? And he tried to approach the Canadian government with the transparency, and they shut him down. They shut him down like they do here. And it's connected to the Five Eyes because they're all working together. Canada, United States, UK, Australia, New Zealand. Those five. They're working together to keep this hush-hush. Look up, I think it's New Zealand is the fifth. I don't know if it's France. You could look it up. Look up Five Eyes, the five countries. Just look up Five Eyes, and you'll figure it out. So, oh my gosh. It's intense. It really is intense. But I was hoping when I asked the question to Stephen about the whistleblowers, and it goes way back in time too. It does. But I thought by asking that question, if he was gonna drop names, because a lot of these people have suffered from the threat of criminal investigation, intimidation, of course, defamation, discrediting them. It's really defamation and threats to their lives. That's why I asked that question, because I know it exists, and he knows it exists, but he didn't name drop. The only person he mentioned was Grush. I know there's more, but he didn't do it, which he's smart. I just wanted to see if he would bite. So, yeah, I was very tactful on my questions because he knows a lot what's going on. He's pretty much one of those insiders that are part of that whole scene. So I was interested to see, but that was cool what he did. That he brought Salas with him and handed out the affidavits. That was good because Salas is a direct witness. That's smart. Somebody might take the bait and look into it further as a potential future witness. If Salas, I think, would testify. But then there's a few others, but I don't know. Last time I talked to him, he wasn't well. Robert Hastings. He was not well at all. Medically. Yeah. The Rubio thing, you got to remember, Rubio was part of that bipartisan amendment with Rounds, Gillibrand, and Schumer. Rubio tried to. He put his name on it. And that gave it, you had higher ranking people involved. It gave it a little bite, but again, it was killed. And they know who it was. They know who it was. Remember, it was not killed in the Senate. It wasn't McConnell. It was killed over in the House. That's where it was killed. It passed through the Senate. It was the House that killed that. And I know the last one, Johnson was involved, but before that, it wasn't Johnson. I don't remember, because they've changed a few times, House leadership. But they're the ones who killed it. But for good reason at the same time. That's why I brought that up too. Because the government was going to have that, I can't remember the word, I'm so tired. The domain thing, where they could just walk in and say, we're claiming that this is, I can't think of the word, starts with an I, domain, and we can take this and confiscate this research. Bullshit. That's overreach. The government should never be allowed to do something like that. They're private industry. That's a private corporation. You're overstepping your bounds. There has to be boundaries there. Because if you allow that to happen, what's to say they don't try that with every other thing? You cannot allow that. And in a way, I agree with the House Republicans on that. Because you're allowing the government to have too much power and control. To go into somebody's private corporation or business and say, okay, is it eminent domain? I can't think of the word. I'm so tired. But, okay, the government started this project. We paid you to do this. We want it back. The government. The government is the one who pays these contractors. The government is the one that's funding it, supposedly. That's why I asked the question, could there be private individuals, billionaires, investing in this shit too that we don't know about? It's not just coming from funding from the government. Where is the money coming from? That's what I'm saying. This opens up. You're affecting some really powerful entities here that don't want you to touch it. And that's not to say that there are people in the Senate or the House that are not getting money in their pocket as almost like a lobbyist type of deal to don't push it. We'll pay you. Don't pursue it. Have our best interests at heart. Remember, it's national security. Think about the country. Whatever. So who knows? So that's what I'm saying. This is some deep stuff. So who knows? And I'm speculating. I'm making a lot of assumptions but it's possible. Do I have evidence? No, of course not. Do I have access to SAPs? Of course not. They don't even have access. But we don't know. That's the point. There's no oversight. There's no accountability. We don't see the books. We don't do audits. You can't. That's what Tim Burchett got so upset about. Because remember, that hearing was in the Oversight Committee that Burchett led last year. The Oversight Committee. There is no oversight. No accountability. They could just run rampant. And nobody needs to know. Because it's on a need-to-know basis, unacknowledged SAPs. You don't need to know. You're not going to know. They're not going to tell you. And they overclassify, like Nancy Mace said, a lot of others said, they overclassify stuff so that they can't go and get access to it. They're not stupid. They know by doing that, you can't see it. You can't enter a SCIF. You don't have the classification to get access. And the people that can, well, guess what? We tell them, remember, I'm making a lot of assumptions here and hypotheticals. They're not going to open the doorway. So guess what? We have that under control because they have access, but they know not to touch it. So forget about you lower level classified people because you're never going to see it. So, ha ha ha. Good luck. What SAP program? We don't know nothing you're talking about. Tell us more. What do you know about this SAP program? Can you name it? Do you know what you're talking about? We don't even, it doesn't exist. Plausible deniability. We don't know what you're talking about. And how did you hear about that? Do you have the classification to hear about what you're discussing right now? So how did you get that information? Was that leaked to you by someone? Well, we need to know because that's national security. That's a breach. That's a breach in the classification. Somebody can go to jail over that. Think about it. Yeah, that's a really slippery slope. A slippery slope. And that's just like some of the complications. I'm just coming up with a couple of scenarios, but that's what you're dealing with. That's treason. You're going to jail for a long time. You slip out classified information. Just look at what they tried to do to Snowden. And I don't condone that either. I'm not here to condone somebody doing stuff like that. Because it has there's a lot of vulnerabilities. I mean, there were names, addresses, contacts on that Snowden thing that left those people vulnerable. So I don't condone that at all. But at the same time, you can go to jail for a long time doing stuff like that. That's why they're very careful. I cannot disclose that in a classified setting. Everybody's saying that, Roman, that the fight was BS. Disappointing. My friend just messaged me on Skype and said he sent me a picture. He sent something. I'm sure it's going to show up over here. I got to put it over here. Oh, he's got his fireplace on. And he just wrote, and just like that, nobody got knocked out. LOL. That was his comment. And a lot of other people are saying it too. Netflix was having problem. Bob said Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight was subpar at best. So it doesn't look like the fight. She says she's so excited she won't be able to sleep. I hope I wasn't just not too much on the show because, you know what I mean? It's Annie's show and I went on there and went off. You know what I mean? I was rolling. I couldn't stop. I don't like doing that. I feel bad. But it was a good show. It was a good show. But, you know, I just get riled up. I hope she's okay with it. If she thinks it was a great show, I just, I wasn't even thinking. I was just totally zoned in when we did the show. I was zoned in. I was listening to every word carefully. I was like, I was ready. Because I have so many notes from the hearing that I took down that I can just keep coming up with more. And I don't care if I have to bring up my paper right in front of the camera. I couldn't care less. And bring up my notes. Because those are my notes from the hearing. This is just one page. I have 8. People might not think there was nothing there, but there was stuff there. If you know what you're listening to. Especially me, because I know stuff. So I know what to write down. So for a lot of people, it may have been a nothing burger, but for me, I found a lot of stuff interesting that was brought up in that hearing. Of course, there was no evidence, none of that, and that's the regular folk is like another BS hearing, nothing new here, move on. I understand that, but this opened up some serious doorways and questions moving forward, and maybe with the Republican-controlled government, maybe we might get some answers. At least that's my hope right now. And that I'm saying that as an independent. I'm not saying that as a Democrat or a Republican. I'm saying that as a person that's in the middle and looking at this objectively. Straight up. I think it could. I think this is going to be actually. I'm very optimistic. People may not be. I think this is going to be different. These next 4 years. It's just me. I'm actually optimistic. As an independent. Like the big thing that came up, and it has come up in the past, is this FAA BS. And I've spoken to pilots. One that lived in Texas, commercial pilot for an airline. And he said, there's no way I'm reporting a UFO. And he's seen something. There's no way I'm going to report it because I fear of losing my job or getting a psych eval. This is my pension. This is my livelihood. I'm not risking it. He said it bluntly. And I don't blame him. Can't blame them. But there has to be better transparency. The FAA definitely has to have better protocols set in place for civilian and commercial pilots to come forward to report what they say without repercussion. Period. No threats of psych eval, none of that. No threats of losing their jobs, ridicule, all that. Let them come forward. Let them make the reports. But good luck. That was one of the things. And of course, I put it on the top, money, no oversight, because that was mentioned earlier. And like, I noticed some of the people in the crowd. And Lou said it. We are in possession. And adversaries, he said. Our adversaries have it too. That's what Lou said. I wrote it down. And then he did say that. What Annie said on the show, we are not alone in the cosmos. That's what Lou said at the hearing. And then about the criminal investigations, the intimidation, the defamation, discredit what they try to do to you, and even threatening your life. Yes. I know a few myself. And I've spoken to them in person, what they went through. And still are going through today. Not so much the threat of life. Intimidation is heavy. The whistleblower protection. Stephen brought that up, that Tim Burchett is putting in legislation to try to have them protected better. And that there is a way, without giving away the way our technology films, records, images, that it can be done, that we can show some of these videos without giving away national secrets and how we obtained what we got. Because that's like the concern they use. Oh, but that'll be giving away the technology on how we detect them and how we film them and the equipment that we use, that kind of deal. Again, I put the FAA guidelines. And then Gallaudet mentioned about a 2017 satellite imagery. And he says he could discuss more behind closed doors, but he did say it was dish-shaped. And his email disappeared the next day that it went to other officials in the military. The next day it was gone. It was wiped from everybody's computers. that email. He said that in the hearing. Lou said yes, the government has retrieved crack, but he says when asked further, did he say could it also be private companies? He said yes. It could be private in origin. He's not sure. He answered that. Like I said, I took a ton of notes. You might not have thought there was much there. There was a lot there for me. I was writing 8 pages worth. One of them, and it's true, science lacks access to the data, so they can do the science application to it. And pretty much by doing that, you eliminate probably the vast majority of these as natural phenomenon, or explained away by some other man-made object or whatever. Meteors, natural, like I said, natural phenomenon. Even though that gentleman, he was, that was Mr. Gold. He said, but yeah, there could still be 2% that we have no idea what the heck they are. And then he said, just ask these gentlemen. And yeah, Lou signed a DOD signed doc in a skiff. And in that document, it's one page on the front and the back that he could not discuss the crash retrieval. In 2009, he was part of OSAP, and then that turned into ATIP, which he said he was involved in. Then Gallaudet brought up the Omaha incident that happened in Southern California. A UAP was aloft with no visual features on it, and it entered the water. Lack of Congress access. There's still plenty of video out there. And the Go Fast video that they say was a balloon, he said there's a lot of other videos of that. It's not just the one. Then there was the Langley incident with the drones. It seems like a lot of the activities occur over military sites, nuclear, Department of Energy sites, a lot of the activity. Research and development. The unknown whistleblower. And the guy said, Schellenberger said that he would protect the identity of that whistleblower, even go to prison to protect it, to protect the person. And yes, that Lou said, I can't read that. Yes, there are docs that can be released to the public and Congress. He says, yes, there are docs that can be. They're out there that can be released, declassified. Again, I put no oversight because there is no oversight. And I wrote, SAPs is the problem with the access. You know, it's crazy. I can't even read my own handwriting because I was scribbling so many notes. I talked about the email. Oh, the incident with the submarine where it was being followed by a USO. It slowed down. And then it sped away at a high speed. I think Gallaudet brought that up. The PSYOPs against whistleblowers, he mentioned that he was brought into a meeting, I think, with Arrow. He thought it was only going to be 90 minutes. Ended up being hours. And they tried to sway him, convince him that the whistleblowers were misinformed. And he said they tried to discredit the whistleblowers to him and try to convince him that this was all BS. There was a lot there. Remember, this is testimony under oath. And then the other, Mr. Gold, said that there is the need of the technology to try to identify this separately. You know, we're not talking Starlinks, a system that is actually looking for them. Science-based. for space and ground. Lou said they're intelligently controlled. Now, here's the crazy thing. Lou said that humans can withstand 9 Gs for a limited period of time. Then he brought up that F-16 can survive briefly at 18 to 19 Gs before it disintegrates. But he said that these objects were performing at anywhere from 1 to 3,000 Gs. That's what Lou said. I wrote it down. It's definitely breakthrough tech. The government is denying public about the UAP. They were asked that question unanimously, yes. The non-human intelligence aspect. Are we dealing with AI or some kind of a higher non-biological form? Doesn't have to be AI. Or are we dealing with biologicals? Advanced. A species of some type. Again, about the protections for, and they mentioned this, protections not just for commercial and civilian pilots, but for civilians, witnesses that come forward. It was broad. It wasn't just the pilots. It was also civilians. And the Go Fast video, that's the balloon. There's more. It wasn't just the one video. There's more. Then there was an incident where there was metallic orbs near F-22, and then it got boxed in by them. And he said the bigger ones were the size of a sedan, and there were smaller ones. The size of a sedan. Metallic orbs. So the Congress was blocked access by General Dynamics. They were looking into something and they were blocked off. And then they asked a question. Somebody in Congress said, where can we go to get our answers? Like, you people don't know where to go for answers? You're in Congress and you don't know where to go to? You don't know who to talk to? Really? You're in Congress. You don't know who you need to ask the questions to? My gosh, any of us could do it. Good night, Candace. And he said, I could discuss this with you in a closed setting, but maybe the new Arrow, now that it's head by someone different, maybe you can go to them for starters? I was like, oh my God. Really? They don't know? And then like I mentioned on the show, bodies, Lou was asked about the questions, do we have bodies and possession of bodies? And Lou says, we do have bodies, but it was before I was born, which makes us all think it's Roswell. And he said, was there ever any direct communication with these entities? And he says, no, but there was nonverbal communication, meaning we deployed planes, helicopters, or whatever to engage with them. So he considers that nonverbal. We're making contact with them by engaging with them, which is true. So you're not talking to them, but you're engaging with them. And yes, the UAPs are not hiding. They're in plain sight. And Lou said provocative with military aircraft. Heightened awareness has made it where we're seeing more of these reports and the technology to record them. That's what Lou said. Remember, I took the notes. And then he brought up the initial preparedness for battle space, how they need to be prepared in an engagement. They need to be prepared in the event that they're dealing with an adversary or something else. They have to be prepared. So when something happens at a nuclear facility and, for example, say missiles are shut down, that's national security. That's battle space. You have to be prepared for that, to defend. That's common sense. And he says they're brash with intent. They don't care. They're very brash. There was the Langley drone incident that occurred like over a 2 weeks period of time. The government, nobody has answers what they were. Were they drones from some company manufacturer? Were they government drones? Nobody seems to know what these things were over Langley. And the overclassification that I mentioned in the SAP, so they can't touch it. So they asked for more transparency, of course. Congress is being denied information about USOs. Well, I got more notes. It's the last page. I'm skimming through them. And then I thought about Mark. Mark was on the nuclear sub. He's told the story many times. How he heard Sonar tell the officer that he's got a fast mover. Mark heard the conversation. And then he told Mark started asking questions. Do you like your time on this submarine, Mr. D'Antonio? And Mark said, let's keep it that way. Like, he told Mark something like that. So Mark was actually part of an incident. And it's in that documentary, Transmedium, USOs, Fast Movers, that Darcy made, with Tim Gallaudet, by the way, which is excellent. I recommend people seeing that. I think it's on Prime. Darcy did that film. And they seem interested in innovative sites, this is what Lou said. Activities near nuclear sites, innovative sites, example, research and development, being monitored. Is it reconnaissance? Is it our adversaries? And the Department of Energy is the key. So I wrote all these notes down because it all ties together. I'm telling you, I can't emphasize that department. I always mention it. The Atomic Energy Act of 1954, where it mentions about unacknowledged SAPs, says need to know. There's no oversight. They don't have to tell anyone what they're doing. Unacknowledged. That is the key. I even told Richard Dolan a month ago, and Richard was like, really? I'm not aware of that. I couldn't believe that Richard didn't even know. So he said, I got to look into that. Look into it, because that's where it's at. It's all about the unacknowledged SAPs. And regardless, this doesn't even have to deal with the extraterrestrial point of view. It's what they're developing. These projects, these programs, and the money associated to them. This doesn't have to have anything to do with interdimensionals, aliens. If it's our adversaries, we need to be prepared for that. That's a national security threat, no matter what. It does not have to be alien in nature, interdimensional, time travelers. I don't care. If something is occurring and we don't know what it is, we need to look into it. If they're going over our military installations, our nuclear sites and everything else, and vital sites, and we don't know what we're dealing with, we need to find out. Because that's a potential threat. It's a no-brainer. You don't have to label this as being extraterrestrial or whatever. It could be our adversaries. That's good enough for me. But look into it. My gosh. I mean, really. It's common sense. And I think Trump will. I honestly believe President Trump, when he takes office again, will. I'm hopeful. I really am. And like I said, I am writing to him. There's actually a petition going on around right now that people are signing up for, that somebody started. But I'm writing direct. 1:30. Is it that late already? It's almost 1:30 already. Oh my God. Now, looking at this image, couldn't that be like something from another planet? Looking at that image, it's like, shit, what are we looking at here? I mean, that's almost like a sci-fi image in itself, the way how beautiful, that looks beautiful. That looks beautiful. How the moon is illuminating the whole surface. That looks amazing on the screen right now. That really does. Can you imagine standing in a building looking out at this right now? Yeah, it's mad cold out there, but that's just gorgeous looking. It really is. And there's been some aurora. Now, Genghis, are you still there? I got it today. I took the strings off. I've got my screwdriver here. I've got my Allen keys for that guitar right here. Oh, yeah, Admiral Byrd. That's a long time ago. That's a story in itself when he was exploring. What was it, Antarctica? Oh, I forgot where he was at. And he went past. That's a whole story in itself. And what he claims to have seen and experienced. That's a whole different story. There's a lot of those. But tomorrow, Alexa, turn on living room light. I am exhausted. I cannot stay on much longer because I'm going to pass out. Alexa,
Okay.
brighten living room light.
Okay.
So, I gotta put more wood.
Look at Marcus TV's canals. Look at my TV's canals.
I just gotta put more wood in my fire before I go to bed. So, I took the strings off the guitar. We need a wide-eyed bill for disclosure day. I may have a heart attack from the excitement. Oh, will that be a crazy day? If I'm alive to see that happen. So, I'll just make it a little bigger. I did get them today. One of them. It looks backwards. It does. Why is that? There we go. So I did get them. The other one comes tomorrow. This is going in. The guitars, the strings are off. I got my soldering gun right there with the solder wire. I've got my tools in front of me. Tomorrow, the operation starts. I got the copper tape to line the inside of the cavity where the pickups are going to go into. I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to take the old ones out and put the new ones in on the Flying V. If I have time, which I don't think so, Sunday, maybe Monday, I'll do the other guitar, the Warlock. But these babies are going in. I was going to do it tonight, but then I got drawn into the show and I put my whole everything into it. And I'm mentally tired, exhausted just from that alone. So these are going in tomorrow. I don't know where the copper tape is. It's over there. It better be over there. So that's going to be our project tomorrow. Where is that copper tape?
Nein, da Marcus TV's names.
I didn't even check it. This should be it. I'm not sure. This should be the copper tape. I didn't even open the box yet. This better be the copper tape because it's the only thing that could be it. Oh, yeah. The copper tape. This is what Genghis said. So we're going to do that tomorrow. And I'll take pictures because I'm not going to live stream that. I got to really be focused with that. But tomorrow, I'll take pictures before and after and the steps that I do when I do this. It's going to take time because you got to do both the one near the neck and the bridge. It's going to take some time to put this together. Very slowly and carefully. No rushing on this. And then we'll see tomorrow night by playing it if it worked. I hope it works because those are nice pickups. And the other, I ordered two. The other one's coming tomorrow. I don't know why I got one today and another one's coming tomorrow. It doesn't even make sense. Maybe they didn't have it in stock. But the other one should be here tomorrow. Saturday night special Seymour Duncan pickups, humbucker. That should really make a difference on the sound of that Flying V. And the Warlock, BC Rich, it should definitely make a difference on that too. So we'll see tomorrow. It's really not that hard. You just got to be careful with the soldering. And I'm good at that. I've done that many times on other things. Matter of fact, I'm not going to get the guitar out. The Gibson, my toggle switch broke. That was tough soldering that. That was tough because the wires were short. Oh my God, I struggled with that one. But I put a new switch in. If I can do that, I can do this because that was tough. I forgot how many wires it was. 4 or 5. It was crazy. And so tiny. And it's not like you can navigate with your hand. The wire's coming to where it comes in. Oh my God, there was no wire to play with. It was tough. And then to get it in there again, connected, just to screw it with the nut to hold it was a pain. That was not easy. So this is probably going to be a lot easier for me to do that. So tomorrow's going to be fun for me. I'm going to go in my dining room, my big table. I'm going to put towels, one for the neck so it sits, the other one laid out flat. And I'm going to perform surgery under the chandelier, well lit. And I've even got a needle nose so I don't touch the wires with my hands with the solder. What the hell did I do with my needle nose? Right here. I got this needle nose so I can hold the wire while I solder. Because I'm not putting my fingers. I have fat fingers, so it doesn't make sense. So the needle nose is important too. So I have all my tools ready right in front of me. Got my little screwdriver, which I already fitted in the screws to make sure, and my Allen keys for that guitar. So I'm ready. I'm ready to perform surgery tomorrow. It'll be fun. I watched a couple of videos by Seymour Duncan. The one I watched, I said, wait a minute, something's wrong here in the video. He's replacing one, not both. And if you don't know, I caught it when I watched the video. I was like, I can't do it his way. If I do it his way, I'm screwed. And I like Nancy Mace. She's got guts. At that hearing, gutsy. I'll say that. She definitely does. She didn't care. So this is a Seymour Duncan video. Right here. Oh, the Aurora's coming. So this is an actual video that I watched already. It's in my history. That's why I pulled it up so fast. I watched a few. But toward the end of it, as he's putting it back together, there's an interesting little thing to notice here. This is not as hard as this looks. Don't be worried. You don't get worried about that. It's not as complicated. Shit, where is it? I noticed it. Before he puts it in. Okay, before he puts it back together. This is when he's going to test it. Yeah, he's testing it. It's before this. I like his technique on how he put it together like that. Matter of fact, wait, let's go back a little. Okay, right there. Pause. Shit. Right there. Pause. Okay. See the other wire? It's hard to see it. That other wire is coming from the other pickup. See this one right here? The one on... What the hell was that? That was right in front of me. Ma? What are you doing?
Nothing. What are you doing? It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Don't worry about me. I don't have a bedtime, do I? But I just heard a noise right in front of me. That wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
I know, that's why I asked where you were.
Maybe it's you on
You see that wire? That's the other wire coming from this pickup. I cannot do this one first. I have to do this one first. Actually, I got to take them both out because I have to be able to run that other wire through first before I put this one in over it. So I'm actually going to have to do them both at the same time. But I'm going to do the front one first by the neck and then finish it with this one because how could you cover this? You can't get access to the wire. You got to run that first one first, this one, and run it through and do that one first, put it back together before you would start doing the one near the bridge because the wire is underneath it. It's already running. So I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. But he's only doing the one. I'm doing both. So this is a very good video, by the way, to show you how to do it. So I did my homework. Damn, I can't see shit here. And the screws, these screws gotta face the neck, and this one has to face the bridge where the screws are. They have to face that way. That's very important. And then you gotta put this on the brackets. So you gotta take those apart and use the same bracket for these. And they have springs. You gotta be really careful with that the springs don't go flying. So there's a lot of little steps. But this is gonna be fun to do tomorrow. I'm looking forward to doing this tomorrow. I really am. It's my little project. Good night, Bobby. I'm glad I didn't see the Tyson fight because everybody said it was BS. I'm so glad I didn't waste my time trying to watch that. Thank God. But I'm sure, yeah, I mean, there was interest there, obviously. Alexa, how old is Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson is 58 years old.
58 years old. I mean, really, he's a 58-year-old man boxing. I mean, really, what did you expect? You know what I mean? That's like saying, Grandpa, I want to see you fight with the neighbor's grandpa next door. I mean, really, what were you really expecting? The old Tyson? Did he look like he was even in shape? I don't know. I haven't seen it. And now I'm glad I didn't, because everybody said it was disappointing. So yeah, now that everybody said that, I'm not even going to waste my time to even watch it on Netflix. Some people were saying there was all kinds of connectivity issues on Netflix, that was buffering and all kinds of stuff. That is bad in itself. That's just bad production. I mean, fired. How could you have that? How? I mean, really, that's inexplicable, unexcusable to have those kind of issues. Because the servers couldn't handle the amount of the demand of the people that were watching? Is that it? Was it a server issue? It just got overwhelmed by all the viewers? I wonder how many people watched it. Like, that's what I'd like to know. How many people actually watched that fight or so-called fight? That's what I would like to know. I bet you it was in the millions. Had to be. We won't know the official Nielsen ratings off of it. It's too soon, unless you were watching and it showed you how many viewers were watching. Alexa, how many people watched the Tyson fight tonight?
I don't have an answer for that.
I didn't think you would. I really didn't think you were going to have an answer for that. I'll have to look into it tomorrow. I don't care. Why am I even talking about it? This is Greenland. This is an image from a video from Greenland. It's nice too. Alexa, shut off living room light.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm gonna pass out, literally on this chair. I can't stop yawning. It's not a good sign. So yeah, tomorrow I'll take pictures as I'm doing the guitar. Pretty much, it wouldn't be that far off. Iceland, Greenland, Finland. It's to the north. You know, you're pretty much looking at across. It's not far off. When you say Iceland, it's not far off. But yeah, this is now, from now to spring, this is when the auroras really are the best, because the sun, the light pollution is diminishing. It gets better during the winter months now. This is only going to get better moving forward. Only going to get better. Now, obviously, supermoon, it's a bright moon out there. That's why, look how it looks. It's illuminated. The snow. It almost looks like there's some kind of daylight going on. That's the moon. That's moonlight. That's how bright it is out there. I'm sure you know that. I went out to get my package, and luckily I did, because he was going to pass my house. You know, it's funny you mentioned about the Middle Earth, because I've been watching, and I like it, Rings of Power. I'm on episode 2 of season 2. I like it. I like the Lord of the Rings, though. I'm actually liking it. I gave it a chance because Eric told me, you got to watch it. If you like Lord of the Rings, you got to watch this. A lot of the people that are hardcore to the book, J.R.R. Tolkien, are critical of it. But Simon Tolkien, he's involved, so a family member's involved on the project. I actually found something to watch. And I like it. So, it's funny you bring up Middle Earth, because I've been watching that the last couple of nights. My mom's outside. She's crazy. What is she doing outside? This is funny. Somebody posted in a neighborhood thing. Verizon is bad, right? While you're trying to watch the fight. Anyone having same issues? Well, guess what? This happened. So this person posted this 2 hours ago. It's happening all over. I hear it from all of you. Somebody put that on the neighborhood watch. That's crazy. Same. It's an overload since almost every house has at least one TV on. It froze for me a couple of times. Trying turning it off and back on again. Yep, keeps freezing. Network super busy with Tyson fight. Yes, 25% wheel. Goes in and out. Spectrum having issues as well. I'm in San Diego right now using Cox network. Same issue here on fight, buffering delays. It's not just Verizon, LOL. Same happened here. We restarted and now it's fine. So yep, a lot of people having problems with the fight tonight. Black bear cub in the yard. A mile away. That was 2 days ago. Mama bear and 2 babies. Oh my God, this is seriously close. 0.3 miles away. Oh my God. This is in my backyard. It's pretty freaking close. Oh my God, it's really close. Now that I see the map. This is like right down the block. This is sick. You can't see it, but there's a bear cub walking the property. Look at that. This was 3 days ago. So the bears are in the area. And I was thinking about that when I went up to the package. I'm in the dark. I got the little flashlight, which is charged by now. And I'm like, I can't see shit. I'm open. The freaking bear could be right here and I don't even see it. And you don't want to be near the cubs. Mama's around. Not a good thing. This was right down the block. 0.3 miles away. The bears are right in the neighborhood. Not good. Crazy. I didn't feel too good about being out there, to be honest, waiting for that Amazon truck. And luckily I did, because he went over there. He was going to drop my package. I had to chase him down with my flashlight running. Amazon, you got the wrong house. And then he said, yep, you're right. It was crazy. But like Mama said, this Mama Bear over here, I don't want to get off yet because that looks really nice right now. Oh, God. Yes, you do not want to mess with cubs. You don't want to even go anywhere near them because Mama's coming after you. That is like one of the most dangerous things. When you see any amount of cubs, you get the hell out. You get away as fast as you can. You do not go in the vicinity of these cubs. She's going to attack you. She's going to go after you. She's going to protect her cubs. You do not mess with that. You have to be crazy. And I don't even know, I would not necessarily say run to draw attention to yourself. I would just say, slowly, get the hell out of there. Don't be seen. Just get the hell out of there. Because if you run, that move... Oh, come on, Ma, stop. This is what she's doing now.
For Billy.
Go to sleep.
See? Now I gotta hear from her. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Are you kidding me? Yeah, there's stars right there. Yeah, it's not a joke. Don't mess with the Cubs. The baseball Cubs, beat them up, but don't mess with the Cubs. Oh, my God. Anyway, I agree with Mom. I can't stop yawning. I need to go to bed myself, even though that aurora is getting better. Now imagine if the moon wasn't out, how nice that would look. The moon is washing a lot of it away. Light pollution. Even real mountain men and hunters know, you see a cub, run away, even if your trembling hands hold a weapon. Hell yeah, man. That is not a joke. That is not a joke. You do not mess with that. But again, they're nocturnal. They come out at night. And I'm standing in the middle of the, not in the middle of the road, in the middle of my driveway at the top. Like, fuck. What happens if a bear just comes out of nowhere? I got to run back down the driveway as fast as I can, get back in the house. That's about 150 feet just to get to my door from that point on top of the driveway. It's not a short distance. So the chances are if that bear's chasing me, it's gonna get me. It's gonna be faster than me. So not good. In the dark. With my stupid little flashlight. Because when I was at the top of it should be charged by now. Let me check it. Oh yeah, it's fully charged. I had it like this. So I did this so he could see me. I had this flashing. Because I knew he was coming. He just drove right by me, even with the flash. Like, duh. It's me. I'm holding up my phone, too. I'm like this. He just went right by me. But I'm like, man, this is not good. I'm sticking out with a flashing light. Target. I know. You're right, Dwayne. It's scary. And plus, there's so many other, there's coyotes out there. There's all kinds of stuff out there. It's not just the bear. When you hear them howling, they're in the pack. They're out there. You know, that's why I'm always concerned when I take Tycho outside. What if there's a freaking animal right in my yard as I'm walking the dog? Tycho's vulnerable. I'm vulnerable. We're vulnerable together. Because Tycho's going to want to go after it instinctively. And I have to get him the fuck out of there. Because I would have to pull him, but he's on a harness. But what happens if he slips the harness? Tycho's gone. So it's scary. Right now, he's upside down in his chair. Oh, hell yeah. He's upside down in the chair. And that's his favorite spot. And he's looking for me. He acts so silly. Alexa, turn on the room light.
Okay.
He acts silly. Look at this. Oh, shit, the wire. Look at him. Look at him. That's him.
Cavaco. Dividi.
Upside down on his chair. Out. Is my Trooper beer. And that's the other Iron Maiden poster back there. Then I've got the Trooper is up there. You can barely see it. There's the Trooper. And there's more Iron Maiden there. And there's more Iron Maiden. There's all my guitars. Over there. There's the Flying V. The Warlock's over there. There's a lot of Maiden here. He's like that. That's the way he is. Hey. Oh my! Oh, we got a lot of skunks here too. Raccoons. All that good stuff. Same shit. Like what you have in Connecticut, I have here. You know, there was a moose in Dutchess County across the river. I was like, what? A moose? What? Moose? What the hell? A moose was sighted? Come on. It's just getting crazy now. A moose? The hell did it come from? Canada? What do we got moose now in the county? Moose? Really? There was a bobcat like 3 years ago, not far from here. It was caught on camera. I was like, never seen that before. There's no wolves, obviously. But the bears are becoming more frequent. It wasn't like that. That was more rare. After the pandemic, during the pandemic, that's when we started seeing animals that we never seen here before. Let me read that were rarely seen here before. Now they're everywhere. It's like they just made themselves at home here now. Because they would stay up in the mountains more. Catskills. Now they've migrated down. And they're here. It's crazy. But that's the truth. Alexa, shut off the living room light.
Okay.
Anyway, Dwayne. Anybody else who may be watching, have a great night. I'm going to bed. I can't sit up anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm going to like pass out. Literally. I can't wait to go to sleep. I got the fire on. It's nice in here. It's comfortable. I'm going to bed. I need it. It's been a long day. So, good night to everybody. Be well, be blessed, be safe. See everybody tomorrow at some point. Till then, I will take pictures of the guitar and hopefully this project tomorrow will work. I will take pictures of the stages of doing it. The before, the during, and after. And then I'll play it and see if it really works.